Then this Kenya was called actually just a territory. It was actually run by a company called and I've come again and again to this place. So I'm very happy to see this audience this afternoon. I was asked to talk about a vision for the next 60 years and beyond about Kenya. Now, I begin by saying that in a few days' time, we'll be celebrating 60th birthday of Kenya as a nation. 60 years ago, our people proclaimed our country's independence. With that, we affirmed that our natural right as a people to be masters of our own fate and destiny. But how did we end up as Kenya? It is important that you go back into history. Kenya, the name Kenya was coined much later by missionaries. There's many versions to it, saying a missionary, I think it was called Mr. Herman, was talking to Mkamba around Mount Kenya, and he said, they were talking about Kinyaga. And the Zungu said Kenya. They were talking about Kenya. But then this geographical space called Kenya was drawn in over 100 years ago in Berlin, at the Berlin Conference, where the imperial powers met. And at that time, there was scramble for Africa. So they decided to partition Africa, 1884-85. So Africa was then parceled out to various colonial interests, imperial powers, Portuguese, Spaniards, the British, the French, the Italians, and the Belgians. Spain got a small portion of it. So this is how these maps were drawn. And these maps were drawn artificially in Berlin without any regard to the people who were living in Africa. So Africa was artificially divided among the imperial powers. That's why you see that borders among many African countries are straight lines. If you see a border with Somalia, it is a straight line. One line inside and one straight line and another line outside. Our border then Tanganyika was a straight line from Lake Victoria all the way to the Indian Ocean. It was only in 1860-something, because Tanganyika was given to Germany, to the German territory. And on the German Emperor's 50th birthday, it was called Otto von Bismarck, Queen Victoria was the head of the British Empire. In a gesture said that on your 50th anniversary, I give you the highest peak in Africa, Kilimanjaro. And that is how, you see, Kilimanjaro was originally in Kenya. But then you see the map between Kenya and Tanganyika, now Tanzania, a straight line from Lake Victoria to Kilimanjaro, then it comes into Kenya, takes Kilimanjaro to Tanganyika, then again a straight line to the Indian Ocean. That is how it was done, arbitrarily. Then, but formal colonization, actually, of Kenya took place in 1904. But when the British first came here, they started building a railway line. By building a railway line, and they built a railway line from Mombasa It was called Kenya-Uganda Railway. It was built from Mombasa up to Kisumu. You ask yourself, if it was Kenya-Uganda Railway, how did it end up in Kisumu? The reason is, at that time, Kisumu was part of Uganda. Uganda's boundary came all the way up to Naivasha. From Naivasha up to Lake Turkana, the west of that was Uganda. That's why it was called Kenya-Uganda Railway. When it reached Kisumu, it had reached Uganda. From there, they were now taken by ship across the lake to Port Bell in Uganda. Then, but then this Kenya was called actually just a territory. It was actually run by a company called British East Africa Corporation. They were just using it for hunting, coming to search for gold and ivory. But then came one colonial master, one imperialist by the name of, his other name, but later on he became known as Lord Delamere. He came through Somalia on a horseback. And when he came on a horseback, he arrived on Mount Kenya. And then he saw a very beautiful land around Mount Kenya. He came down through Laikipia into what is present day Nyahururu, what they called Thompson Falls at that time, into the Rift Valley, through Nakuru, Njoro, Eldoret, or Singishu, up to Mount Elgon. So he saw a very beautiful land. So when he came back to Nairobi, he went and met the governor. He told the governor that, look, you have a beautiful land here, which is ripe for large-scale agriculture. You have built a railway line from Mombasa all the way to the west. The railway line will have nothing else to transport. It will be transporting goods from Mombasa to interior, but on the way back, it will be going back empty. To make this railway line productive, you need to introduce large-scale agriculture. So this is now Lord Delamere. And I'm ready to go back home and campaign and bring white settlers to come and settle here and do large-scale agriculture on condition that you agree that each person I bring here will get 10,000 acres free, plus black laborers. The governor agreed. And after that, now they signed an agreement with Lord Delamere. Lord Delamere was going to bring settlers here. Each settler who came will get 10,000 acres free, plus black laborers. But then Delamere then went back to England. He addressed town hall meetings in London, in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Liverpool, telling them that down there you have found land which is flowing with milk and honey, the biblical Canaan. And whoever agrees to come there will get 10,000 acres free, plus free black laborers. At that time, the story about Africa was very, very disturbing and worrying in England. Nobody wanted to come here. Most people did not want to come. So you got very little response. In frustration, he came back to Kenya. When he came back, someone suggested to him to try down south So he went down south. He went by ship from Mombasa to Durban. And in Durban, he addressed town hall meetings. Durban, Port Elizabeth, East London, Cape Town, Kimberley, Joburg. There he found white men who had lived in Africa for generations and who did not fear Africa. They agreed easily to come. The prospect of coming and having their own land, because a number of them were laborers on their own fellow white farms, was very appealing. So they came, and that's how most of white settlers who were here during that period came, a majority Boers from South Africa and Rhodesia. So they came here, they got land and got laborers. And so that's how Kenya was then occupied. So we ended up with what was called white highlands in this country. And people were moved, population were moved to create space for these people to settle. From Laikipia, from the slopes of Mount Kenya, the Maasai communities were living there. The whole of that Laikipia plain were moved. Around Naivasha, there was a corridor, 10-mile corridor, opened for Maasais to pass without chasing ngombes, to go down to Narok and Kajiado, as they're called. Some Maasais were moved from Eldoret area. That area is called Uasin Gishu County today. The Uasin Gishu Maasai are now in Trans Nzoia, that's where they live. They were moved from there to create space for Wazungus to settle in those areas. In Kericho and Bomet there, the large chunk of land was taken away from the Kipsigis and turned into tea estates. The same thing happened in Nandi. The same thing happened in Central Province area here and around Mount Kenya area. People were moved away from their lands and to create space for large-scale farming. So that's how Kenya was now settled by the white men. And then the white men, of course, they set up administrative structures in the country and ran this country for 60 years. So Kenya is now 60 years independent. It was also 60 years under proper colonial rule. So today now you are almost at 50-50 now. To look at what happened, what did the colonialists do in that 60 years, and what have we done ourselves the 60 years. Over the years, the joy of, so we attained independence after a long struggle, because Kenyans were being oppressed seriously. The land had been taken away. Africans were classified as not even second class, third class people. You had apartheid in this country. There was a white man, there was the Indian, there was the Arab, and then there was the African, number 4, that time. And people rose up in resistance to this colonial rule. You will hear the story of Chief Koinange, who in 1912 had to go to the court to apply to be allowed to plant coffee in his farm, because natives were not allowed to plant coffee, and he had to fight to be allowed to plant coffee. People were not allowed to settle in certain parts of their country. There was resistance in 1922. A man called Hari Dhuku led a demonstration in the center of Nairobi, near where the central police station is today. And the colonial police opened up fire, and many people were killed. Some were arrested and detained. Harry Duke was taken to Kismayu, which is then part of Kenya, and he detained there for several years. Then came later on the struggle for land, the Mau Mau struggle. But there was also struggle in other parts of the country, Western Kenya. But before that, the Nandi resistance that you heard about by Samuel Koitalel. The Kamba resistance here, led by Windu Mbingu. And many people were killed. Some were arrested and detained. Harry Duke was taken to Kismayu, which is then part of Kenya, and he was detained there for several years. Then came later on the struggle for land, the Mau Mau struggle. But there was also struggle in other parts of the country, Western Kenya. But before that, the Nandi resistance that you heard about, led by Windu Mbingu. The resistance by the people of Western Kenya, Ojijo Teko, Agula Awala, Elijah Masinde, Wanameme, just to mention but a few. You will remember, of course, Mekatili Wamenza from the coast. So there were several people of this country who resisted colonialism. Eventually, Mau Mau freedom movement came up in 1952, and a state of emergency was declared in this country. Many people were arrested, were detained, and very many people were killed during that struggle. It's a very bloody struggle. You must remember that before that, there's a man called Wayaki Wahinga who was arrested from his home, taken all the way to the Savo, made to dig his own grave, and was buried alive in his own grave. So the struggle was very bloody. But in the end, independence came. And independence was a combination, the struggle was a combination of the freedom fighters who were fighting and those who mobilized the masses to protest, to urge for independence in this country. And of course, you remember the Kapenguria 6, Jomo Kenyatta, Willard Kagia, Chengoneko, Kungu Karumba, Fred Kubai, Paul Ngei. Then came the first elected African members of Legico. You will remember Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Masinde Muliro, Tom Mboya, Lawrence Oguda, Daniel Arap Moi, Ronald Ngala, Zhou Muimi. Those were the people who were elected members. Eventually, others joined, and independence came on the 12th of December. Now, when Kenya became independent, of course, people were very, very expectant. Kenyans were some of the most optimistic people at that time, because we attained independence. People thought that prosperity would come immediately with independence. But at that time, they coined what you would call the Kenyan dream. The Kenyan dream as coined by the founding fathers of our nation. And you find it in our national anthem that says, God bless this land of ours. Justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace and liberty, plenty be found within our borders. What does this mean? God bless this land of ours. Justice be our shield and defender. Justice can only be a shield and defender if there is democracy. May we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty. Unity means that people who are united, people where there is no form of discrimination, either on the basis of race, tribe, religion, or gender. Peace and unity, and peace and unity. Peace. Peace is not merely in the absence of war. Peace is not merely the absence of war. Somebody who is hungry cannot be peaceful. A hungry person cannot be peaceful. So it has got a wider meaning, that peace that is talked about there. But finally it says, plenty be found within our borders. Plenty be found within our borders is a very strong statement. That plenty was not going to drop like manna from heaven. It was going to be a product of the sweat and toil of the people of Kenya. Meaning what? Meaning that we must create a conducive environment for people to create wealth. People must be enabled to create wealth. And it's a freedom and the rights. One is the right to life was fundamental. To the right to health is fundamental. The right to quality education is fundamental. Right to food, fundamental. Right to education. Right to education. So all these were there. But then people were expectant. But over the years, the joy of independence has been tempered by many battles, a struggle that has continued for 6 decades. We have fought poverty. We have fought ignorance. We have fought disease. You have fought corruption, and you have fought tribalism. But these challenges march on with us. In spite of our tribulations and against monumental odds, we have fought and we are still struggling to build a thriving democracy. We are still fighting for individual freedom within our free nation. We have become the beacon of hope for the millions of immigrants for the 4 corners of the earth. We are struggling to forge a free and modern society that lives by the ideals of liberty, justice, and respect for human rights. We have fought and we are still fighting not to let any obstacle stand in the way of our destiny. I have been extremely fortunate to see the emergence and progression of Kenya up and close. First, as the son of a freedom fighter, my father was involved. 2, as the son of the first vice president for a brief period. And 3, as a son of a vice president turned a detainee, a fighter for the second liberation, a detainee myself, as a minister, an opposition leader, and as a prime minister. The people of Kenya endured the pain of colonialism, the tragedy of single-party dictatorship, and the horror of the economic collapse of the 1980s and 1990s, enabled by the elite corruption and the weird policies like the structural adjustment programs of the World Bank and IMF. In these periods of colonialism, elite corruption, and ethnicization of national life, colorless and cruel leaders took away lives and broke apart families through detention camps, jails, assassinations, and state-enabled high level of poverty. But all these tragedies and unfortunate turn of events could not take away the spirit of the Kenyan people. I have seen Kenyans pick their armor of courage to confront dictatorships and bad regimes. This 60th anniversary is therefore a good time to reflect on our past. It is also a time to look to the future. Where will this country be on the 120th anniversary of its birth, another 60 years from today, which will be the year 2083? This is a challenge that I want Kenyans to reflect on. Where are we going to be 60 years from today? Will we still be a country going around the world with begging bowls? Will we still be a country struggling with the weight of corruption, tribalism, lack of accountability, and empty promises for which the promise makers pay no price? Are we able to set the stage for a future of a dramatic departure from the Kenya of today? As a nation, we have always had great ideals on paper, including in our constitution and various policy documents like the Vision 2030. We have values and principles of governance that include patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, democracy, and participation of the people. We also aspire for human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, good governance, integrity, transparency, and accountability, among others. We aspire to live in unity, peace, and liberty. We aspire to be a nation of plenty. We aspire to be a caring nation that provides the best possible medical care to all its citizens. A nation that provides the best possible education to its children for free. That's why we promised as Azimio free education, primary, secondary, up to university level. We have always aspired to be the nation that extends a helping hand to the elderly, the needy, the widows, and the orphans through social security safety net programs. The founding vision is a critical document for nations that proceed to succeed. Now that we are in Catholic institution, you can turn to the book of Joshua, chapter 1, for an understanding of the value of the founding vision. God talks to Joshua about the founding vision in the following words, and I quote, "Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." Unquote. Today, you are way off the original dream. The nation is reeling under the heavy burden of corruption, officially sanctioned officially sanctioned tribalism, heavy burden of taxation, and a harsh and heartless leadership. We are not the confident nation we have been over the decades. Once upon a time, Kenyans were too proud and so confident of their nation that they refused to seek jobs abroad, including the United Nations. Today, our people are scrambling to leave the country. A recent study by Pew Research showed that up to 54% of Kenyans would wish to relocate from the country. Our children are struggling to get farm jobs in Israel, to be house helps in Saudi Arabia, and security personnel in Qatar. And the president is looking for jobs for them there, to become ayahs there. Government officers themselves, including a whole president, openly say that they're trying to get jobs abroad for Kenyans. Young people with the new skills and knowledge that we need are being exported because the government cannot create jobs. And the government sees it as an achievement. It is the responsibility of a government to create jobs in the country, not to look for jobs outside. When you have a whole president running out there that is looking for jobs for people here, something is terribly wrong. We live on debt, but we still live large. We drove ourselves into the trap of the IMF and the World Bank and their unusual conditionalities that are driving us back to the 1980s and 90s. We are on the downward spiral, and a steady one at that. We are staring at a doomed future. We are uncertain and fearful of what tomorrow holds. We live one day at a time because the longer-term founding vision has been dropped. It is my position that if we return to the founding vision of this country, Kenya can emerge in its 80th or 120th anniversary as one of Africa's greatest democracies and a secure and flourishing homeland for her children. You can emerge as a democratic state that is governed by law, respects human rights, and rejects corruption. I deliberately put emphasis on pursuit of democracy and rejection of corruption as a critical pathway to Kenya's progress. If we return to the founding vision in the coming decades, Kenya will be able to witness a period characterized by tolerance and integration between communities. The country will witness equitable sharing of the wealth that God put at our disposal. If we return to the founding vision, Kenya will live through a period where leaders answer to the people, not the other way around. We'll have a country where leaders focus their energies on important things like funding education schools, fighting corruption, creating jobs here for the children. We educate and casing the burdens of the people. Kenya will then open up a hopeful chapter in which people can live a normal lives. As things stand today, Kenyans are not living normal lives. The dramatic departure the country needs from the sorry state of affairs of today will not arrive easily. Many will say it cannot happen. It will meet violent and even deadly resistance. Transition is a bold vision, but I know it can be achieved. I have been fortunate to live long enough to witness nations and regions turn around their fortunes in 50 years or even less. Think about the current prosperous and stable Western Europe. Europe went through total war and genocide that ended in 1945. During and after that war, it was difficult to believe that 50 years later, Western Europe would be free, peaceful, and prosperous. And I happened to have been to Germany, which was the aggressor, and which was completely devastated. Most German cities were razed to the ground by bombs after the war had actually ended. But 15 years later, when we went to Germany and then went to Britain or France, we think that it was Britain and France that lost the war and that Germany won the war. It happened because of foresight, dedication, and hard work of the people. South Korea went through crippling war and sought help from Ethiopia during the war between 1950 and 1955. Ethiopia sent 6,037 soldiers to Korea. Now Korea provides aid to Ethiopia and to Kenya and all African countries. Kenya once upon a time gave aid to Singapore before Singapore zoomed past us. In a mere 6 decades, Japan emerged as a democracy and an economic powerhouse, manufacturing and exporting high-quality products to every household in every part of the world. When I was growing up as a child, people did not want to see anything Japan. Because Japan quality was known as inferior quality. Nobody touched anything Japanese. Today, Japan is equal to high quality. People don't question Toyota anymore, and so on and so forth. Within vision, a lot can happen in the next 50 years, and I pray that Kenya can rise to the occasion. At this moment, it is proper to recognize and say thank you to the nations and the development partners that have stood with us in our journey as a nation over the last 60 years. And here, we talk about the US, the UK, the EU, China, Japan, Korea, among others. We thank you. We have our neighbors to thank for this 60 years journey as a nation. Uganda remains our biggest and most reliable trading partner. We thank them for the loyalty. Tanzania remains a second home to Kenyans because of their friendliness and people-to-people ties across the border. We thank them. We thank the entire East African community bloc of nations for their support and friendship. It is my firm belief that if we made good use of the help and goodwill that the nations like the US, UK, EU, China, and others are extending to us, Kenya can emerge from the poverty and take its place among the economic powers. If we cemented and respected the ties we have with our neighbors, Kenya can cement its place as an economic powerhouse and guarantor of democracy in the region. But something stands between us and the future, which we desire. Corruption is killing our future. Tribalism is stealing our potential. Under the current regime, these two vices are officially sanctioned. The country is divided between people with shares and those with no shares. Shame on them. The corrupt are getting plum jobs and state protection, while those who try to stop corruption get arrested and arraigned on trumped-up charges. In the case of KCPE, indications are that NEC as an institution will be sacrificed to protect the cartels. I therefore wish to call on our development partners to partner with us in calling out the ills of corruption and tribalism and that are crippling our country and making nonsense of the aid we obtain from abroad. The transformation of this country deserves requires a generation of leaders with the courage to confront and defeat corruption and tribalism and direct public resources to public causes without discrimination. We need a generation of leaders who stand firm on the solid rock of values and who can tell when the nation is taking the wrong turn. From where I stand and at my age, I know the country is taking a wrong turn when a 14-year-old child has to go to court to seek justice over KCPE marks. Kenya is failing her children. I know the country is taking a wrong turn when workers take home only a third of their basic salaries, the rest going to taxes. When somebody told me that take my salary and give me the tax, I'm better off with the tax than the salary. It is wrong when a person earning 50,000 shillings has to surrender 20.5% of that money to compulsory taxes. We need a change that will make our fathers proud of the nation they founded. We need to return to the original vision of a selfless leadership that will be a light unto other nations. We need to secure this country and its future by building a mighty democracy that can endure and withstand the worst of the challenges to our nationhood that might emerge in future. And I believe it is possible. It can be done. We can do it. God bless Kenya.
Sunday, we may sit for a short while. I think as you are listening to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, I'm sure you are burning what happened to our Kenyan dream. What happened to our Kenyan dream? We are the generation today that we can turn that dream into a reality. If all of us can stand up and say no to the vices that are eating us. Kenya is not a poor nation. We are a rich country, but the country is being mismanaged by people who are not ready to take us to Canaan. I'm sure as you sit here, the young people of today, the Z generation, they are yearning and saying what happens. The dream of our fathers, the dream of Kenya shall not die. We shall not let it die. Not under our watch. As the leaders of today, we are proud to be in opposition, and we shall put this government on its toes. We shall not tire to keep on reminding them that they are leading us in the wrong direction. We shall not tire to tell them that they are overburdening Kenyans. Why would leaders be elected in the offices, but the only thing they do is enrich themselves? There's a lot of wastage in this government. They are telling us to cut some things, but when you see what is happening in the government, it's going the wrong way. 60 years of Kenya, we must say no and no. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure there are many of you who have something to say, maybe a few reactions before we end this session. Can we have a show of hands, those who want to make a remark or reaction, anything? Can we have any from this side? There, one. We come here, this lady. From this side, we cough to you, my friend, behind you. On this side, yes. We start from there. Can somebody deliver a mic? Please stand up, the one who raised his hand first. And we just have 1 minute, just say something. Either a question, a clarification, or a reaction on what you have just heard. Before we do that, may I recognize the members of parliament who are here. My deputy whip, Mheshimiwa Mark Mwenje, please be upstanding and wave to the crowd. Mheshimiwa Irene Mayaka, Senator Mikori, my friend, stand and wave. Mheshimiwa Maina Nchenga, is right here. Kamau wa Raila, I see you there. Kenta, I can see Mheshimiwa Pole, and many other leaders. Our MCAs who are here, please be upstanding. Let us see our MCAs who are present. Be upstanding and let us acknowledge them. Thank you very much. And let us acknowledge all of us who are here present. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I go by the name Kanini Timothy, and I'm very proud to be among this audience of today. And allow me to say that I've learned a lot this day, but the thing I can clarify much, or the thing that I can put emphasis of what we have been taught today, is that we need to be very resilient in whatever we do. We have learned that Kenya has come from a very far place, and we are going very far, and this is not the time to stop. We need to be always on our toes each and every morning, each and every time, and each and every minute. Allow me not to say much, but just to stop there and wish you guys a very good and a very wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bring the mic to this lady here. She's here. Please introduce yourself and say what you are.
It has been indeed a remarkable journey, which we do celebrate you and salute you, even for having the Constitution. Asante sana kwa safari hiyo ambayo tumeweza kupitia. And Baba, just to urge you and commend you, kindly keep up the spirit. We say even when the child is misbehaving, we do not throw the baby and the water together. Kenya is your baby. So Baba, we urge you to soldier on with us. Na sasa sisi kama vijana, tutasonga na Baba, tutatemea na Baba, na hata kama mambo itakuwa aje, we will live to see your legacy being delivered in Kenya. Baba, we know that the leaders are dealers of hope. Even Winston Churchill said that. Continue being a dealer of hope. Where there's hopelessness, we will spread hope, we will spread peace, and we will continue walking this journey. Asante sana. God bless you and God bless Kenya.
Thank you. The gentleman there, before we come to you, Mheshimiwa. There, behind there.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga. My name is Aroko. You have walked this journey the whole of your life, and we thank you for being there for the nation. What we can assure you is that being the youth, we will take up the journey, and your mission for the country will be met by the people you see here. Thank you very much.
The gentleman behind there, Please give the mic to that gentleman. He was the first one to raise his hand.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. I'm here courtesy of Chairman Maina Jenga. My name is Prophet Paul Mwangi. I'm actually a grandchild of Congo Karuba, not by fixing, but by reality. I was very happy when you mentioned the Kapeguria 6. And Congo Karuba disappeared from this land. Nobody knows his whereabouts. Baba, it will be my joy one day to hear that we have discovered where Congo Karuba went at your effort. And we shall all celebrate because that is within the historical injustice. The other thing, Baba, I would like to request you is the narrative that has always been sung every day about Mau Mau compensation. I don't know who holds the money, where should it be recovered from? UK, CBK, State House. Baba, can you dig for us and give us the information? Thank you very much.
Thank you. John?
Yes. Mheshimiwa Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, as I was seated here and I was listening to what you are saying, I've learned two things. One, you have talked about several leaders who have been in this country. The only thing I've learned about those leaders is that they believed in something. And actually, there are people that could be trusted by the things that were happening in this country. Baba, as you sit there today, they hate you for the things we love you for. The same things they hate you are the same things we love you for. That you have been our leader who has been steadfast. Baba, as you leave us today, we believe that all leaders who are here, the young people who are here, can you believe in something? Can you drive this country to where Baba and the rest drove this country for us to have it today? That going forward, Baba, we believe that we have a date with the future. The young people of this country, as you talk about 60 years from now, can we be Baba of those years? Baba, me as Mkoya, I'm taking the mantle to say that I'm going to be you, I'm going to copy what you have done in the past, and we are going to move with young people and other leaders who are here. Our leaders, I urge you, you have listened to Baba. Kenya is aching. Kenyans are suffering. Go to parliament, put this government on check, ensure that Kenyans, children who are supposed to go in school in January, go to school, and the government that is in place today, listen to what Kenyans are going through. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Baba.
Mheshimiwa Lekenda. I'll have one more, then we close this session.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move this side.
Already I have.
Mheshimiwa Lekenda, yes. Please sit down, Kwanza.
Okay.
The other one, the other gentleman. Mheshimiwa ongea.
Okay, asante. Your Excellency, Honorable Raila Odinga, I'm very impressed by what you have done today, and I hope the youth of Kenya have listened to what you have said. I come from a community called the Maasai community. Our people are the ones who actually forced out of the Laikipia lands, all the way through Nakuru, all the way to Wazingishu. If there is any community that has suffered in this country, it's the Ma community. We were dispossessed of our lands and tried to fight for the land during the Lancaster conference. We were denied that right. At the moment, and everybody knows, we are still suffering. And had Baba taken the mantle of leadership, this community would have been far, far better than the way it is. And so Kenyan people always ask us, what has Baba given you? Let me tell the Kenyan people, were it not for Baba, we would not have retrieved a very important resource like the Mau forest. We would not have even been in the map of this country. And Baba, there is something going on, something fishy going on about the Mau forest. The other day we saw that Ruto gave out 60,000 hectares of the land, sold them for this carbon credit thing. Without the participation of the community, without the participation of the Kenyan people, the country is being auctioned day and night by this regime. And I think maybe some people know me, some don't. I was a member of parliament for Narok North for 2 terms. I was contesting for governor of Narok County in the last election. I won by a landslide. And what they did, they gave the purported governor his certificate in Nairobi. The first. And I'm talking to the youth of this country, and that's my last point. This is the 1st century. And it hurts me to see, when you go through all the platforms of social media, our children are taught not to think, but they are to insult one another, to insult tribe, to insult everything, while other youth in the whole world are discovering new things. They are making life better. We are being divided into, or we are actually being forced into tribal clan cocoons. Where are we heading our youth? You are supporting people who stand for nothing. Thieves, people who will destroy this country, and not for me and Baba, you are destroying this country. Or it's yourselves, your future, your progeny. And I'm telling you, if you don't turn around and say it's our country, it is not Ruto's country, it's our country, we are going nowhere. So Baba, thank you so much for this. We are with you, and we'll always be with you. And let me tell the Kenyan people, the time to say this is our country is now, it's not tomorrow. Because by 2027, if things continue the way they are continuing, we'll have no country. We'll have nothing. You'll have nothing. Already you have no jobs. Already you have nothing. Even university students are not getting the money for their schooling. Where is the money going to? You are destroying education. Baba, when I read what you said yesterday about the exams, our children have even denied, they are being denied the fruits of their labor, the fruits of their intelligence. They are being robbed of their future. How do you deny the children our marks, their marks? They work for 8 years and you deny them their marks. You go and mark exam in a week because you want to loot, you want to pay yourself. So all I'm saying is that we must stand as a country. We don't look at tribes. We don't look at any other thing, but we look at ourselves as Kenyans. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Sunday. You're having a mic. Please, 1 minute.
Thank you, the future governor. To His Excellency, my president, my name is called Kombedo Michael. I'm a resident of Kibra and Langata Slum. Baba, if you want, Baba, you have mentored us. You are our political father. The people, the leaders that were voted on account of their digital ages, the leaders that were voted on account of what they can do, Baba, you should sit down and these people go in front to work for you. We don't want an institution where these leaders are just following you, but they are doing absolutely nothing at the ground. For instance, Baba, you launched ODM membership registration drive. Baba, most of constitution in this country, most of the wards, most of the counties, these governors, these MPs, these MCAs, these senators, and these women reps, they are doing absolutely nothing. Baba, they should work. Baba, sometimes I see you going to Somalia, sometimes part of Somalia. Baba, I see you go to Migori, go to Siaya, go to Mombasa in the name of Kenyans. Yet the people that you fought for, yet the people that you nominated, yet the people that you gave certificate are doing absolutely nothing, Baba. We the youths, we should work. Baba is an old person. Baba is giving us advices and wisdom. Let's push for these things. Let's go to the streets. Let's not wait for Baba. Baba, to the youth of Nairobi, we are going to work from Ugenya, from Nairobi, and other parts of the country, Baba. We need to work as a team. Baba, sit and watch your people work for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One last... you and then the gentleman behind you, then we close.
Good afternoon. Baba, good afternoon. You can see the mood of people all over Kenya. Baba, people are crying. My name's Amasi Ambani. I'm a lawyer from Ikolomani. I've been working with Baba. As for now, I'm just from Malaysia. I've come, Baba, but we are even crying. We don't want to stay anymore in Kenya, Baba. Please hear our cry. We are ready now to see. You can see now how everything is corrupt. We are not comfortable. Everybody's crying. Nobody has even 50 shillings amongst us. Why, Baba? Why? Number one, let us change the IBC. Let it go. We can't continue voting for you, Baba, you win, and they steal. Let them go. We don't want IBC. Wangapi wanasema wanataka IBC? What a shit is it? IBC, let it go. Baba, you removed Moi. If you removed Moi by Blolongo, let us remove Ruto. Who is Ruto? He's killing. How can even God award him? He is a killer. He's somebody who doesn't want people. He is corrupt. Look at, and Baba, let me tell you, it is empathetic. That is Sodom and Gomorrah. You see, I don't want to mention, that is Sodom and, better us even when we are drinking. Them, now they are sleeping with one another. Ask Millie Odhiambo. I'm happy Maina Njenga is here. Baba, when you unite with Maina Njenga, stand up. And Rachel, stand up. The comrades, stand up. This is Jeshia, Baba. I want Maina Njenga to come to Kisumu so that Gachagua can know we are ready. With Maina Njenga, ongea kwanza.
Comrades power. Comrades power. People's power. Baba, tuko hapa. Baba, tuko hapa. Tumeyasikia yale yote umeyasema. We are very happy to hear the history of 60 years since independence. Most of us were not there. Even they were not born, even ourselves. It is good that God has kept you alive to be able to tell us the history of what happened even before independence. This is the right time to listen to Baba. Baba has been in the struggle for many years. He is our elder. He is our people's president, and we must listen to him. Our work right now is to pick from what he has left, to continue with the determination, with our effort ahead, and join hands to make people proud, like the way Baba has made us proud. Kuna shida moja. Tukiangalia, unajua wengine wanasema upande wa Masai. Sisi tuko katika location ambaye sisi watu wengine watatu wakisimama wanaitwa ati wao ni Mungiki. Sasa nauliza, vijana hao wote ambao wamekosa kazi, wakikosa kazi ni shida yao? Ni shida yenu? Mkikosa help ni shida yenu? Sasa kazi yetu ni kuangalia mbele na kusimama imara, kufata amri ya Baba na kusimama kabisa. Wakati Musa alifariki, alikuwa anakuwa na miaka mingi sana, akafariki. Lakini Mwenyezi Mungu alitokea Joshua, akamwambia, be strong and of good courage. Be strong and of, because you are the people who are going to lead the nation into the promised land. Sasa nataka niwaambie, mawaidha tumepewa na Baba, tumepewa na viongozi wote. Sasa ni wakati wetu kusaidia hii kazi mpaka tufaulu. May God bless you.
Asante sana. May I just, the students who are here, any student who wants to make a remark, this is for students. Students, please. Happy? They have said, Tabitha, speak for you. The gentleman there in a suit. I'm giving 3. 1, 2. One minute. Sorry. Comrade power.
Comrade power! Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga, our able president. Now, I want to talk on behalf of youths, and my name is Wilson Ogweno, and the young people, especially the future leaders of this nation. Baba was giving us very important documents. We call them documentaries. But people just tend to hear, but they don't utilize. Why don't you be a good listener and a good practitioner? Because when we are saying, okay, youths, let's go and do this, youths are not there. But today, as we sit here, good number of these youths are suffering. It's youths who are suffering, and it's youths who is supposed to have the what we call the hoe. Your hoe is the voting card. Now we are doing the registration. Good number of you are not even voting. Good number of these youth sitting here are not even voting. They say, no, let them vote. We have won, let them vote. I personally, with my own resources, before we go to the election, the 2022, I mobilized 159,000 new voter registration, personally, from county to county. And now that we are in this process of membership registration, I've been doing it. So why don't we come together? Because unity is strength. And we cannot get that strength if we don't have a unity. We are waiting for Baba. But when Baba said, let's go and do this, no one is there to be seen. May we have that strength to work together as one family to protect the future. Because there's something called proper prior planning produce perfect performance. How can we perform if we don't do it? May God bless you. God bless Kenya. Wura, one thing I'm praying for you is long life, because it's just around the corner. I know it's coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Give the next speaker on the other side. Behind there. Okay. Okay. It will come to you. The one behind you there. Then you bring it to this gentleman who has been raising his hand for a long time.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm Chacha Mwita, a comrade from Cooperative University of Kenya. Thank you, Baba, for giving us a good history of Kenya since we started. Actually, the 60 years corresponds with my mother's age. That's the 60 years. She will be celebrating on 12th. Actually, we have seen this Kenya struggling. Let me talk on behalf of comrades. You have estimated the salary of there's a person who is earning about 50,000 and being taxed about 25% of that. For example, a parent who is at home, having 3 kids who are at secondary school, 1 comrade at university, and remember that the help that we are supposed to be given, it's delaying. And remember that they have increased the school fees. Some others are now, they are supposed to pay over 50,000 so that they can settle for the exams. And remember, it's something that you will need to pay after the end of your 4 years. Na ukimaliza at 4 years, umemaliza, you are graduating, you are being told that there is no job here at Kenya. What's that, comrades? Unanyimwa kazi, unanyimwa loan, and then umemaliza kugraduate, unaambiwa hakuna kazi, and you are supposed to pay. Unaona hii Kenya penye tunaenda? Youth, actually we need to open up our minds. We need to open up. Let us help Baba. When after Baba, who will take it? After Baba, who will be there? I think actually we have remained 2 strugglers in this world. Me and Baba.
The gentleman in orange, please stand up and take a mic. And we shall close it at Tabitha.
God is good, and all the time, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Vice Chancellor, Governor Nairobi incoming. My name is Davis Bin Oluoch. I was born in the plateaus of Nyabondo, Nyakach constituency, Kisumu County, in the shores of Lake Victoria. Baba, I work for your party. I'm the last born there. I graduated from university 2 years ago, and I'm one of the last entrants in the ODM party, courtesy of, I saw Benson Musungu somewhere. They scouted me, and yes. I want to ask this question, Baba. What do you think about the history of Kenya? There are things we are taught in the books, and there are things we read in your book, and in Jaramogi's book, Not Yet Uhuru, and in Ngugi wa Thiong'o's books, and in Daniel Branch, Looters and Grabbers, and Kenyans Between Hope and Despair. There's a very big disconnect. There are people we are told are heroes of this country. But if you look at the real history books, they are not heroes. Is it time we rewrite the history of Kenya? That's my first question. Number two, Baba, what do you think about our generation? What should be our biggest generational goal? Because Jaramogi and Bildad Kagia and the team fought for colonialism, and they can see. And that day when the world will end, God will ask them what they did in this world, and they will say, we drove away the colonialists. And Baba will be asked, and his generation, what did you fight for? What did you fight for? And Baba will say, I fought for multipartyism and devolution. Baba, what do you think this generation, my generation, should focus on? I went to Baba's office one day, and I had a quote, and I want to complete with this quote from Baba's office. It was a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. It motivated me, and I want to read it in this forum today, so that it may motivate you. And it says, and I think it's one of the quotes that motivates Baba, that you may be 38 years old, as I happen to be, and one day some great opportunity stands before you and calls you to stand up for some great principle, some great issue, some great cause, and you refuse to do it because you are afraid. Continues, you refuse to do it because you want to live longer. You are afraid that you will lose your job, or you are afraid that you will be criticized, or that you will lose your popularity, or you are afraid that somebody will stab you or shoot you, or bomb your house. So you refuse to take the stand. Well, you may go on to live until you are 90, but you are just as dead.
Thank you.
At 38, as you will be at 90. Thank you so much. Davis Bin Oluoch from Nyakach.
Thank you. Care for this lady. Finish. There. I don't know how the mic will get up there.
Comrades power. My name is Gitaranga Esther. I am the president of all female students in Kenya. Baba, you've said